Hi, this is from Dr. P. Vijay Kumar.
We discuss the topic of bending of beams overview.
Today
Right?
we discuss
The bending of
overview
beams means
bending of beams.
when a force is applied in a material, it's changed in deformation. That means start from bending. Right? So this is the object. We taken a 1 meter scale. It's a clear structure scale. Right? So we applied the force in this material, inside of the force or outside of the force. Right? Based on the force, the bending of beam will be created. Right? Suppose it's formed inside of the force, the downward, the bending moment is created. That called is a depression. Right? The upward bending moment to apply of upward force, it's form of elevations. Right? So this is the bending of beams. The bending of beams is based on the nature of the material. Right? We take a wooden scale. So based on the wooden nature, the bending of beam is created. Suppose we take a plastic scale or iron scales, right? It's changed in the bending moment. We now get this types of bending moment in expanded and contraction. That means it's an upward and downward formation of bending moment. If you have any doubts from the bending of beams,
Types of bending.
there is a two types. The one is an uplift of type and another one is a downward types of bending. That called is an elevation and depressions. Right? Then any other? The advantages is a very important we discuss from bending of beams, because why we discuss from this bending of beams, what are the advantages are to be forming to apply of the stress to change of dimension of the beam. We apply the stress, that means the force, the bending of beams, it move in upward or downward or any change in dimension we have identified. Based on this nature, we have used the constructions of buildings or bridge or any other formations. Right? We find the material characteristics, that means the elastic nature of the material to based on the bending of beams. Right? So this is a very important advantages we discussed in that bending of beams. Right? Then the bending of beams is a form of to based on the stress. Right? That means the force. So the force will become increase the material to change in that the characteristics. Sometimes it's formed in elastic nature, sometimes it's formed in a plastic nature, sometimes it's a form of a brittle nature. That means it's a broken of the material. So based on the material characteristics, right, to apply the stress in material, or otherwise the material will be broken. So the bending of beam is very important in the material characteristics. Right? Then any other questions?
Sir, how it is used in day-to-day life?
Day-to-day life, the real-time application you have asked in the bending of beams, right? So the construction of buildings, right? We used in the how many number of floors we have constructed. Basically, we have a form in our sketch of draw. Based on the strength of material we have used it, we know that, right? So based on that, the material rod thickness we have taken it, right? We have used in 5 floors or 10 floors. The base material is a very strong material. So the rod and column used in iron bars, we take in a very strength of the materials, right? Because the bending of beams, it form in the strength of the material, right? The strength of the material, we know that we used in lot of applications oriented in a real time lives, right? Then any other? So this is this is a very important characteristics we have identified that the materials. So the bending of beams is one of a very important topic to discuss the material characteristics, right? So I think you have identified what is the bending of beams and what are the types of bending of beams, what is the advantages of bending of beams and real time of application in a bending of. This is an overview of bending of beams, right? So these are you learn from this topic wise, right? If anyone you give in a feedback from this session of what you learned from that overview of bending of beams, right? First one.
Today I learned types of bending of beams, advantage and daily life usage of bending of beams. Today I learned.